In this video, we'll show you a Japanese brown technique involving plastic wrap. Here we're using 80 grit, and at the speed that we're sanding this on, it almost polishes it a little bit, which would be fine. We're getting enough tooth on there, and we're also going to go over with the Sculpt Nouveau metal cleaner and a Scotch-Brite pad to make sure we have a little bit of tooth. Ultimately, we don't want it really polished, but you can see there's some reflectivity there, and that's going to be okay. So we're going to go in with the Japanese brown now, and the trick to this method is getting it on at a cold process, and I like to really saturate it and get a lot going on here. Once you have a good layer of Japanese brown on, you can get your plastic wrap. Honestly, the cheaper the better. This is the stuff that painters use to, in conjunction with the tape, to tape off everything. So went ahead and ripped it to my size. I'm going to set it on there, and you can see I'm working it around a little bit, trying to get some really good creases in it. Where you see those pockets of airs, that's where we're still going to have the rust popping through. And we're ultimately going for a multi-toned piece. So I'm going to wrap the edges so no air can get out or in. And that's really going to make the patina kick off a little bit more. Now, depending on how you go about this, depends on the final look. Ultimately, you can scrunch the shrink wrap or the plastic wrap in any way you want, make designs. We've seen a lot of cool things come out of techniques like this, but ultimately, how long you leave it on will also come into play, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But here's what it looks like when I'm done playing with the plastic wrap. You can see the highs and lows. Again, where you have those highs is going to show. So this is actually 5 days later, and we're going to go ahead and pull this plastic wrap off. You can see it's rather dark, and that's kind of cool. If you did it for less time, it would be more brown, and we'll show you a picture of that later on. But here you want to be careful to not pull off any extra material. You're going to pull a little bit to be expected, but just be gentle with it, trying to pull it off. And here I used an air hose just to get some of the dusty stuff off. It was really worked out nicely, so I can pull a little bit more of that off, get a little more rust coming through. I'm not trying to go full blast, I'm just giving a little bit of air. You can use a compressed air can as well, but air pressure worked fine for me out of the air hose. So here's what we have after we're all said and done, and I really liked how this one turned out. So we're going to go ahead and clear coat this with the Clear Guard. And remember, when you do Japanese brown cold on its own, it does need 2-3 days, but it's already sat 5, remember. So we're going to go ahead and go in with 2 coats of the Clear Guard matte, and that's just going to seal it in and make sure it's nice and protected. And you did need to go a little bit heavier on this since it was a kind of a buildup of the patina, so it doesn't come off. So here we are again. This is wrapped for 5 days and then pulled off. And this next picture is wrapped for 2 hours. So you can see that you can get a lot of different looks going with this one. And Japanese brown is available at www.sculptnouveau.com.